Hey everybody, Dave here. Hope you're having an awesome day. So I have an old hairspray can and an old mint container, and I want to try and make something awesome out of it. So come on, let's do it. Hey everybody, I want to give a quick shout out for a new channel that me and my buddy just started. It's called Toy Rats, and it's just me and him sitting at a table talking toys, art, and pop culture. It is super fun. I think you'd enjoy it, so check the link below, and let's get back to the show. All right, here's my hairspray bottle. It's magnetic, so magnets stick right to that. I got these washers at a yard sale, and I thought this might make a nice shoulder buildup that the arm can go into. So started gluing these pieces together, and they didn't actually sand as well as I was thinking they would. I use sandpaper, and I kind of wrap it around a can so I can get the form, and kind of worked on that for a bit. I was trying to press a magnet in. I dented the back of my can, so that's kind of a bummer, and I don't think I'm going to go get another can. I think I'm just going to keep using this, and we'll just say this guy's shirt is wrinkly. The stack up's just not working. Like, I don't love it, so I started exploring some other shoulder joints. I got this little wood square, but the body's cylinder, so I thought, well, what if the sleeve was a cylinder as well? And what you're seeing is I'm going to do a sleeve, and then I'll have the arm coming out, so the shirt's going to be white, and then I'll do the sleeve silver. So I'm trying to drill my holes for that second piece of polystyrene, and I just destroyed this thing. So I thought, you know what, I probably need to make that sleeve a little bit bigger. So I got a little bit larger wooden dowel. I'm kind of sanding this part flat so I can drill into it, put a magnet in it, rounding off the top corner, and this way it sits nice and flush against the body. So I think that's working a little bit better than the original washer setup. Now, I have this little capsule thing that I want to use as the bottom of the pants, but I need to trim this off because it's not quite fitting. So I took all the time, trimmed it really carefully, and it's still too big. So I'm like, man. So I went ahead and snipped off one more level there. And then once I got that cleaned up, sanded down, that actually fit a lot nicer. So now what I'm going to do is drill some holes. And I'm starting with the X-Acto blade so I can have something to drill into. And then I'm drilling and kind of forcing it so it will kind of clean out a straighter line so the polystyrene can go straight in. Just trimming down the legs, so I have two legs here, and I've got my holes drilled, and now I'm just kind of dry fitting this, and that looks pretty great. Super gluing these into place, and then taking a little baking soda and just curing that a little bit quicker, and it will help secure that as well. Putting a little glue into the shoulder, sliding the magnet on there, and I'll let that dry. And there's my two shoulders. Now for the head, I'm just drilling a little hole for the neck. And the hairspray actually has its own little, the stem from the spray. So I just plug that in and just kind of taking a look at the overall height and scale. I think this is going to work pretty great. I want to do some little eye sockets. So I took this polystyrene and I just cut a little piece off here. Drilled a little hole in there, again, starting a pilot hole with my X-Acto blade, drilling some holes in, and then I'm going to have these sticking out just a tiny bit, and I think that's going to look pretty good. I think I'm going to do some LEDs in here. And I wanted him to be kind of this friendly bot. He's going to be his first day at work. He's kind of, he hasn't been hardened by the grind, so he's just kind of chilling. Got this little Lego piece for an antenna. I'm going to use a paper clip here to actually make the antenna portion, and just kind of dry fitting it here. I'll glue this in a little bit later. Maybe trim it down a little bit, but I think that's going to work pretty good. Gluing this in place from the back so it stays really clean. Here's my LED setup. I have another video where I show how I do all my LED work, so I'll leave a link for that below if you're interested in how I use these tea lights. The legs were a little too scrawny, so I found these shake straws, so they're a little bit thicker, and I want them to look like pants, like he's wearing little dress pants. So I went ahead and trimmed those, got them lined up, did a little bit of hot glue just to hold them in place, and here I am just kind of aligning that up. And it surprisingly lined up really well. Got the other side there. I like that feel better. Now I need to fill this with hot glue or something because I want this to be able to stick with magnets onto here, but it's a little too deep, so I went ahead and filled almost the whole thing with hot glue, and then I got magnets in the leg post there. I think I'm going to add one more magnet just to give it a little bit more stability, so I'll just glue this magnet in here. Now, I wanted to have like a fake elbow. I don't really need these arms to bend just because he's just hanging out. So I took a little bit larger piece of polystyrene and just kind of slid that on there, glued it into place. And I think that gives a nice effect of a little elbow joint without having to build a working mechanism of an elbow. I'm going to go outside and prime all this and paint it. And while that's priming and painting, I'm going to build him a little briefcase. I'm just using a piece of foam core and just sanding that down. And then I got a little piece of just like thin basswood or something. And the briefcase has like these two little outer shells, so I thought I'll just use foam core in the middle and the wood on the outer edges. And it looks kind of like one of those golden Oreo cookies. Sanding it down flat, rounding out the corners. Just using some flower wire for the handle itself. I'll glue that into place a little bit later. I'm just kind of dry fitting this right now. But it's got a fun little look to it. I'm making the hand now. And what I'm doing is just kind of sanding down a little square block that I cut down, drilling some holes for the finger, using flower wire, and I'll kind of align these up and then glue these into place. I did this on my spray paint can robot that I built. These are the same beads, and I'm just kind of sliding them, gluing them into place, and then once I had them all glued on, I snipped off the tips, and it made a pretty cool little hand. The nice thing about this flower wire is I'm going to be able to bend the hand so it can actually hold the briefcase. So here I am bending these fingers. I'm pretty excited. This is working great. And then, yeah, I bent them all backwards. Oopsie. All right, got them rebent in the correct way. That's the nice thing about this wire. It does bend pretty nice. I did rip the handle back out because I wanted something kind of to fill out that top portion. Just gluing on some little clasps for the briefcase. These are actually a zip tie that I just cut a little piece off. Paint up the briefcase here. I went with this kind of weird brown color because it seemed like in the 80s and 90s, everybody had this weird brown leather briefcase, so I thought that was kind of a little bit funny. Here's the pants all painted. I painted them like a navy blue. Here's the bot. I've got the body white, the sleeves white, the arms silver, the shoes black, and the head is silver. Just adding a little bit of detail to the head of the robot, painting the eyes black, painting the belt here black, kind of at the bottom of the waist. I did repaint the upper portion. As I painted this white, the silver kind of went away, and I thought the silver was like a nice connector to the neck. And speaking of neck, I thought it would be funny to make a little tie for him. So I'm just taking some scrap polystyrene and just trimming it down pretty easily into the shape of a tie. Once I have this all trimmed up, I'm going to slap a little bit of red paint on this thing, and I think I'm going to wrap this thing up. I did steal a base from one of my other builds. Okay, the build is done, and I don't know how I feel about it. A lot of times I come on here afterwards, and I'm like, that was so much fun, that was awesome. And other times I'm like, oh, that was like a really tough build. This one was kind of neither to me. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it. Like, I don't know. A lot of times I grunge out my robots and rust them up, but because I'm trying to be a little humorous on this one, and it's his first day at work, and he's this little business robot, he's pretty clean, and I think maybe it's a little bit out of my comfort zone and doesn't feel as comfortable and normal of what I usually do, so I don't know. Just let me know in the comments what you think, and as always, it's a great day to be a toy nerd. Let's do some turnaround shots of this thing. Have a good one. Okay, I'm back really quick. I kind of stewed on this overnight and added a little bit of additional detail to this. and I'm a bit happier with it. So, yeah, again, let's do some turnaround shots of this thing. And as always, great day to be a toy nerd. Have a good one.